You are now tuned in to Papi Chulo Radio, your web portal for the best in pop culture news and interviews.
Hello, Danny. Come and play with us.
The following is a Papi Chulo Radio original program. The views and opinions expressed in the commentaries and/or interviews in the following program are solely those of the individuals and are not views of Papi Chulo Radio, its parent, affiliate, or subsidiary companies.
Welcome, foolish mortals, to Horror Hotel, a PapiChuloRadio.com and iTunes exclusive Papi Chulo Radio, pop culture on demand. I am your host and hotel owner, Jeffrey Aruz. We're so glad you could check in. We've been dying to have you. Here on Horror Hotel, we're going to explore some of Hollywood's scariest, most frightening, and creepiest films. Please welcome my co-hosts, Concierge Supervisor, Legionnaire.
Hello, hello, hello. Greetings all.
Night Auditor, Mark Estes.
Welcome and become one of us.
And Banquet Manager, Ramon Marquise.
Well, hey, nice to meet you all. I hope you're ready.
Before we head on over to the ballroom, let's stop by the front desk where one of our bellhops has a few special announcements.
Good evening. We thank you for your patronage. Please step all the way in, and make room for everyone. There's no turning back now. I didn't mean to frighten you prematurely. The real chills come later. Like us on Facebook. Facebook.com/PCR Horror Hotel. Follow Papi Chulo Radio on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, and YouTube, at Papi Chulo Radio. For more information on Horror Hotel, visit papichuloradio.com/Horror Hotel. Do you have any questions, suggestions, comments, or concerns? Email us via contact@papichuloradio.com. Help support Papi Chulo Radio financially by visiting gofundme.com/papichuloradio. Are you interested in joining the Papi Chulo Radio team as an on-air personality or blog contributor? Email talent@papichuloradio.com. Binge listen to your favorite Papi Chulo Radio programs by visiting papichuloradio.com/archives. You can also download tonight's broadcast and the rest of the series through iTunes. Just search for Papi Chulo Radio's Horror Hotel, and subscribe. Now, grab some popcorn and some snacks. You may step into the ballroom. It's time for your feature presentation.
Thank you. It's time to fire up the film projector in our ballroom so that we can discuss 1932's Freaks. Here's the official synopsis of the film. A circus's beautiful trapeze artist agrees to marry the leader of sideshow performers. All right, my peoples, you know how we start this off. Who hasn't ever seen this film before? Let's start off with Legionnaire. Had you seen 1932's Freaks before?
Nope. Never seen it.
What about you, Mark?
Saw bits and clips of it, but not the full movie.
Ramon?
Nope, never saw it.
I had never seen it either. So we're all somewhat virgins, except Mark, I guess, was touched a little before.
Just a little
Just a
blue
teeny
ball.
tiny bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so as a follow-up, though, had anyone here seen American Horror Story Freak Show, which was heavily inspired by the film Freaks?
Yes,
No.
God.
Uh,
Yes, I want to say, because I'm glad you brought that up, American Horror Story Freak Show was the least favorite season of mine until last night. I saw how much they pulled from Freaks, and now I want to go back and rewatch Freak Show all over again and give it the proper props that it deserves.
Okay, so Mark had seen it. Legionnaire and Ramon, had either of you seen American Horror Story Freak Show?
No, I never saw it.
yes.
Okay. I had seen it as well. We actually have a podcast about it. Check it out on poppychuloradio.com/archives and on iTunes and all of the goodies. Awesome. So let's get into this cast. We have an interesting cast because a lot of them were parts of like the sideshow. They were actual sideshow performers. I would say probably one of the most famous was the twins, the conjoined twins, Daisy and Violet Hilton, and yeah, I mean, I would say like the majority of the cast were circus performers.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I read it too.
Were there any of the performers that sort of stood out to you?
I like the twins. I found them quite entertaining, especially when the one didn't like the dude that the other one was attached to, and so she'd be like, "Well, I got to go," and then he'll start stuttering, saying, "You always use it as a," and then he'll change it and say alibi. So I really I liked him. I like the twins. I mean, the little, I don't want to call him a midget. Forgive me, but the guy,
It's
the
not
little
PC,
guy- yeah, I like
the little person.
Yeah, I really
Mhm.
liked him. I liked him a lot. He was so in love with that woman.
Yeah, I thought that that both Hans and Frida were like really cute together.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were kind of adorable, and yeah, I thought for the most part, like all of the I don't want to call them freaks because I feel kind of bad, but I feel like all of the sideshow performers were like really, really good, and I'm going to assume that this might have been some of their first like acting type of work. Although, you know, I mean, when you're in a circus environment, I mean, you are basically acting, you're performing and that kind of thing. But as far as like, you know, actually like reading lines and that kind of thing, I felt like they were all believable. I immediately disliked Cleopatra.
Bruh.
Oh yeah, she was hateful and treacherous from jump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Cleopatra, Olga Baklanova, she was convincing as See You Next Tuesday.
And can I say something right quick? I know we're talking about the cast and stuff right now, though, but I
Yes.
just wanted to say that I considered Freaks, a.k.a. I said Freaks should have been called How to Get a Bitch Together for Coming for Your Man. That's what the movie is all about. Because when it started off with Shay, and when Cleopatra came out, knowing that Hans was looking at her and was doing all this extra stuff, and Frida over here looking like, bitch. And then she went over and tried to look at Frida like, hey, and Frida like, no, don't touch me. Go. And I'm like, so she gave off, you know, a great bitch, a cold. She was calculating in every scene she was in. Cleopatra was. And
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't know if they had Oscars back then, though, but you should have got one for being the stone coldest of bitches. I mean, because you set the stage. Like, you Alexis Colby Dexter Rowan, Alexis Carrington Colby Dexter Rowan. You're pre all of that. You were like the
Wait a minute,
prototype.
Alexis Morel, Carrington Cole.
That's right. I'm sorry. I knew I left one out. I knew I left an M out. But you know, I'm a big Dynasty hoe, but I'm just saying.
That's too funny. I gotta say, since we're sort of like talking about it anyway, like that opening scene with Hans like lusting over Cleopatra, like right in front of Frida.
Yeah,
I thought that was so rude.
exactly.
Because Frida's like, why don't you look like that at me?
Right.
And he's like, oh no, baby, like you're my baby. I'm just like drooling over this chick right now, but you're my baby. I'm like, what?
Exactly. He was like, but he actually said she's the most beautiful big woman I've ever seen. It's like, dude, your chick is right there. Like, how dare you?
He had no shame.
Shout out to the big women.
I can't with y'all.
Yeah, but Hans was like all into her, and Frida was like rightfully in her feelings. And I was like, okay, I'm Team Frida. I tweeted out, I said, this movie starting off with shade, and I'm here for it. All I think I'm missing is a glass of wine. I was all about that movie last night. That movie, that set the tone. That set the tone. So, great opening.
Yeah, the movie has two scenes that were not included in the original release. The opening prologue, which featured the Carnival Barker, that was added to the film, as well as the epilogue, which featured our two lovers, Hans and Frida, sort of like reuniting together. Yeah, which I think it's interesting because it turns the movie into almost like a flashback because they're explaining what happened. They're like at the start of the movie with the Carnival Barker, they're like, come and see this, come and see, this incredible creature. And, a woman screams. And so we're all curious as to what happened. And then at the end, it sort of like gives the film a bit of a happier ending. I think I probably would have preferred the version without the prologue and the epilogue.
Yeah, that would have been good. I mean, I appreciated the ending. I like the ending, but I would have been good had they just ended with, you seeing what ends up happening to Cleopatra.
Yeah.
Let this be a lesson to all you hoes out there.
I'm trying to tell you.
Exactly.
Something ain't always cute.
Yeah. We'll talk a little bit later about some of the stuff that was chopped out as well, because the film was originally 90 minutes long. So a lot was chopped out at some point. Apparently, at a test screening in January of 1932, a woman threatened to sue MGM because she claimed that the film had caused her to suffer a miscarriage.
What the hell?
Lord.
Things were a lot scarier back in 1932, apparently.
I guess so. Hell. They were fucking around. They were suing for stupid shit back in the day, too. What the hell?
Right,
Yes.
right.
Okay, so let's get into this story. We have Cleopatra, and basically the main plot of the story is that Cleopatra, after learning that Hans is receiving this large inheritance, she basically hatches a plan, a scheme. She's kind of Joanne the Scammer-ish.
She's a stunt queen.
She's a stunt queen, yes.
Pretty much.
Stunts and shows. She creates a plan that she brings in the strongman Hercules to basically marry and kill Hans so that she can inherit all of the money. So, what do we think of her plan? I mean, obviously this is a horror movie, so it's not going to work. I mean, that's, from out the gates we know that this plan is not going to work. But what did we think of this plan as she was sort of explaining it? Did we at all maybe have a teeny tiny little idea that, maybe this might actually work out? Or did we think that this was immediately going to end in trouble?
I definitely thought it was going to end in trouble. I thought her plan was quite entertaining. But yeah, I definitely didn't expect it to be successful at all.
Yeah, I mean, it was shady as hell. It had all the potential to go wrong.
I mean, they really thought all those sideshow performers were just dumb. The way they talked to them, the way they treated them.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I kind of like how they integrated their everyday lives, like, and just showed that they had heart, they had feelings. Even though, like Mom mentioned earlier about how the two twins were, talking to one of the twins' fiance, like, they ain't stupid. They ain't aware of everything that's going on around them. And so just like, no, it wasn't going to work. Their plan was nowhere near going to work. It's just that she thought too much of herself, and it came crashing down real quick before it even began.
And then you could tell a lot of the other, I guess, sideshow freaks, they didn't even care for Cleopatra. So they weren't finna let that plan go down any damn way.
Right.
Yeah. Cleopatra, we're going to get into it in a little bit, but Cleopatra was the spoiler in her own plan. And, yeah, we'll get into that in a moment. Before we get into there, I actually do want to talk a little bit about the segments throughout the movie that featured the various performers in the sideshow. Just because I thought they were really neat, and they were kind of showing the audience, basically the viewers of the film, that, it's almost like, they're just like us and that kind of thing. There are performers that are falling in love, that are giving birth. There's the romance of the conjoined twins. We saw a lot of the performers sort of just living their everyday life, eating together, falling in and out of love and that kind of thing. Was there a vignette at all that stood out to you?
The one that stood out was when the human torso was smoke was lighting his cigarette. That stood out. That stood out for me. I was just, yeah.
For me, it would be when the bearded lady had her baby, and everybody just came to her room to see, to see the baby and whatnot. We didn't get a chance to see the baby, and then immediately afterwards, the father of the baby, who was, I think, the human skeleton, came out and started passing around cigars. And it was just like, it was beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Just like, I didn't sit there and look at the fact that they were like, quote unquote freaks, and you're just not supposed to care about them. It was just like, these are people. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have, lives like we do, and they love each other, and that's what sold it. You know what I'm saying? And so I love that, because it's showing that they are family. You know what I'm saying? This is a family, so we all gonna stick together. Even the clown, you know what I'm saying? He ran up in there, they didn't treat him better. You saw how all the other people who were the big, strong, and beautiful was on the other side of, circus stuff, but that stuck out to me. So,
I think for me, even though everyone is quote unquote freaks, I feel like the way that they were incorporated into the script, into the picture, I feel like it humanized a lot of them. I feel like it made a lot of them relatable. I just know for me personally, it was just something that connected me with Frida. And I think for me, I really liked the last scene. What stood out with that scene was that here she was in love with this man from the beginning. Everyone knew that. He disappointed her. He hurt her. But she still loved him, and she still wanted to be there for him. And at the end of the day, no matter what he said, because he kept telling her, leave, got mad because she was there. But even though he put up that wall, she still came back at him with love. And so for me, that last scene really did it for me, because I could relate to the emotional aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. I'm here for that.
Yeah.
Me too.
I think for me, what sort of stood out to me as I was watching the film was seeing all of the various inspirations to the American Horror Story Freak Show characters. Like, Cuckoo is Meep, and Schlitzie is Pepper, and the conjoined twins were, and now I'm forgetting the names of the Sarah Paulson characters.
Bit and Dot.
There you go. Yeah, so it was interesting, like, seeing where Ryan Murphy was inspired into creating the characters. Obviously, there's a bearded lady, and there's what would have been called back in the day a hermaphrodite or an intersex character. And so it was fascinating to see that, because there was, the armless, the I guess like a torso type of person, a person that just had arm. I think in the movie they called him Half Boy. So I guess, something like that. Like, it was fascinating to see like where he got his inspiration from for Freak Show.
Yep, I saw that all throughout, and I was like, Ryan, that was the one season where I could not get with you on. I was excited when it premiered, but then after episode 4, I was like, I don't know where this is going. I don't like where this is going, but I did fall in love with the Sideshow characters. I could see where, especially the scene, Poppy, when they was playing in the forest, it kind of reminded me of Pepper and I cannot remember her husband's name. But them at the carnival at Elsa's Cabinet of Curiosities and stuff, they're just playing around and stuff. And it reminded me of them, and that whole entire scene reminded me of, like, even when the townspeople tried to attack Jimmy and them at the thing. It was like I saw where Ryan was pulling from.
Yeah,
and
Meatloaf.
Meatloaf. That was awesome.
Oh, Pepper. So let's get back to Cleopatra. So she's got this plan. She feels like it's solid. And she has seduced Hans. And we're now at their wedding reception. And she starts poisoning Hans's wine because her plan is to kill him. And in the middle of the celebration, where like the freaks are basically like, you are one of us, we are accepting you, you might just be a big woman, but we will accept you into our group. And they even chant, one of us, one of us. And all of a sudden, Cleopatra sabotages her own scheme. How stupid was she? Like, good grief. Like, you're supposed to be a villain. Like, you're supposed to know your shit. But for some reason, she was drunk, and she decides... Good grief. She was drunk, and she decides to spill the tea, basically. That she's having an affair with the strong man, and she mocks the freaks. She... they had passed around a goblet of wine to like signify like her being one of them, and she was supposed to drink from it. Like, she tosses the wine, she tells them all to leave, and basically she makes fun of Hans. And yeah, how stupid was she in this moment?
She was clearly stupid.
When, they have that show, Dumbest Criminals, she would be on some shit like that.
Right. You put it out of the nail.
Right.
Because first of all, you're trying to be sneaky, strategic, and, you have this plan. Your ass shouldn't have been drinking no damn way. Because you want to be in clear mind. You want to be 100% yourself to make sure all the pieces fall into place. You get wasted drunk.
Right, exactly.
She should have been sipping water all damn night.
Clearly
No,
she's
but
not
she
that
chose to
talented.
get toe up.
Right.
Exactly.
And make out with the man you have an affair with.
Exactly. I'm like, y'all just bold. Y'all just really
Why
bold.
were they even sitting next to each other?
His ass
Right.
had never been there.
Exactly. There you go, Ramon. He should not have been in attendance.
Mhm.
This is for the people who work for you. And no, he was the ringleader, but I don't know who he was. He was not supposed to be there from day one.
Right.
Because that was the wedding ceremony, and then let's say if I was Cleopatra, I don't need you there as a distraction. You're gonna mess up my plans. You can stay at home. Like, you couldn't live one night without touching her, like, for real.
Right.
Yeah, the one person that shouldn't have been there was Frida. Like, why was she there? Like, I felt so bad for her.
She's down for the cause.
Yeah, I was
She
just
is
gonna say
down
that.
for the cause.
Yeah, no matter what, a lot of times, if you love them, let them go. So maybe she was thinking he was going to be happy, and that's where he wanted to be. I think a small part of her thought this is all some foolishness, but I just think she just wanted to generally support him.
Okay, I can get that. I didn't like the scenes before this where Cleopatra was talking to Frida, because I'm like, why are you even talking to her? Like, why? Like,
She messy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's the answer.
That's it.
Yeah. Cleopatra. And so Cleopatra ends up trying to apologize to Hans, but he doesn't accept the apology, and then all of a sudden he gets sick because of the poison. So now it's time for me to ask the question: when should Cleopatra have realized that her plan that she's trying to fix was not going to get fixed? At what moment should Cleopatra have realized, oh no?
When she got sober and realized that she kissed that man at the session or at the party.
I would co-sign with that. I'll also throw in the fact that, you know, the other sideshow performers, when she threw that wine at them, like, that's like you spitting on, let's say you're trying to join a fraternity or sorority or an organization, and they're doing all this stuff to, like, say, like, they're doing this, I don't want to say ritual, but they're doing this, like, well, I guess, for lack of a better word, ritual. That it's just, you know, like, we just want you to confirm that you're one of us. And she sat there and tossed the stuff back at them and then told them to leave. Now, you know that's our boy you just married, right? So
Exactly.
you know that we don't like you, but we're going to keep our eye is most definitely on you, because now we know that you ain't down for the cause. And we got to make sure that, you know, we're going to keep our eye on you now. And you notice that ever since then, everybody kept looking at her trailer. Like, we see where you stand.
Exactly.
We see each other.
Exactly. We
Right.
see each other. Like, yeah, just know when the time comes, we fucking you up. I'm just
Basically.
Yeah, I agree.
So for the first half of the movie, we saw basically Cleopatra plotting and scheming and trying to make her plan become a reality. And then in the second half of the movie, we see the sideshow performers creating a plan of their own. And it started off with Cleopatra ends up bringing some medicine to Hans. And we see that Hans pretends to take it, but he doesn't. He's faking it. At this moment, did we think that Cleopatra, you know, they were gonna succeed in getting some comeuppance to Cleopatra?
Oh yeah, I knew it was coming. It was definitely coming at that point.
Yep.
Like, yeah, she clearly played them for idiots, and they were like, "Okay, girl, we got you."
Yeah, we got you. Because I was shocked because I had to rewind the thing back several times. Like, did he just spit that back out? I'm like, oh, he hip to the game. I'm like, okay, then it's gonna go down.
Carmen was about to come visit her.
Yeah, and it was so, I don't know, it surprised me how fast the plot moved, because it was pretty much like the next scene where she like returns and she's still like faking it, and there's some of his friends are there, and you know, it was like in a blink of an eye, like one of them pulled out like a knife, and I was like, you know, if you want to stay alive, you better run, chick.
When I tell you that happened, when that knife said, I said, I started laughing my ass off. I was like, yo, shit just got very real.
Oh yeah.
Fast.
Oh yes, it got real up in there.
It really did. So, in the climax of the film, like, it's a stormy night, and basically all of the sideshow attacks both Cleopatra and Hercules.
I got a question though. Why did Hercules come from? Was it Venus? Is that her name? The other girl's name?
Venus.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah,
did he come
Venus.
for her? That's one thing I didn't get. I must have missed something.
Well, I don't think she didn't care for what was going on. So, and it seemed like she was pretty vocal about it.
Right.
Okay, but I mean, dang, why are you coming for her? Because I'm not gonna lie, I kind of turned my eye. Everything kind of got a little jarring because I knew they was coming for Cleopatra, but I saw Venus. I saw her cabin get was getting kicked in or chopped in and stuff like that. And this guy came in. I'm like, what? Wait, why are they attacking her? I said, oh, that's Hercules. And then I'm like, okay, but I didn't get why they was coming for her. Okay, I'm about to get why he was coming for her, rather. Okay.
Yeah.
So she being Cleopatra, ends up like running out in the rain, like the cabins were turned over and it's storming, and then all we see are the sideshow performers basically like coming out from everywhere,
Closing in.
yeah, closing in on her, and the last shot that we see of Cleopatra is her like running through the forest in the rain. So before, we'll save what had happened to her for just a moment. So before we discuss that, what did you think had happened to her? Did you think they just killed her?
I did.
I did too.
Yeah, I thought they were going to kill her, yeah.
Okay, and so then we see what happened to her, and they turn her basically into a human duck. They melted her hands to look like duck feet. Like she had been like amputated from, it looked like the waist down, or at least from the legs down, and she had been tarred and feathered so that she permanently has feathers all over her body, and yeah, she's squawking.
Yeah, I was just like, damn, I would have screamed too if I seen that shit for the first time, because they really did a number on her.
They sure did.
And Poppy, I wanted to say that, you said she was amputated from the waist down. Even though Cleopatra gave me, I can see where Ryan Murphy was going with Elsa from Freak Show, because remember, she was also, and so, and I'm sorry, spoilers for anybody not seen Freak Show. I think they reveal it in the first episode or two. I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah, they did. They reveal that early on.
Okay, so it's just the Elsa's character doesn't have any legs from, I think, the knee down or something like that. And so it just seemed to me that was a callback to Freaks when Ryan Murphy did that. But
and also what ended up happening to Stanley mirrors what happened to Cleopatra.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. He was such an asshole. Yeah, I thought she got killed too. I just thought they just sat there and killed her, dispatched of her body. But I had to remind myself, like the barker at the beginning said, this was once a beautiful trapeze artist. I'm like, oh.
Right,
I
exactly.
completely forgot about that part. I like, they got her together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they got her together. Good grief. So, I mentioned earlier that the film's original runtime is 90 minutes. And they chopped out a lot of stuff that I guess was considered too extreme or grotesque for the time. A lot of what was removed was the sequence in which the sideshow ends up attacking Cleopatra. And they do that as she's lying under a tree. And in the extended cut, they actually show a sequence in which Hercules gets castrated.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, a bunch of just comedic sequences were removed as well. And most of the original epilogue was removed. So, yeah, there was a lot that was taken out because of just, I guess, how extreme the film was for 1932. Maybe that's why that lady had a miscarriage.
Possibly.
Yeah. So this film does end with a brand new epilogue. It's sort of like the happy ending in a sense, because we see that Hans is in a mansion now, with his inheritance, and Venus and Frozzo end up bringing Frida to visit, and Hans initially doesn't want to see them, but Frida's basically like, you have a good heart. I know you were trying to do the right thing, and it looks like they have reunited romantically.
Yep.
So, what did you all think of this new epilogue that was added on to, I guess, create a happier ending versus just ending the film on the human duck?
I loved it.
I liked it. I was here for it.
I was there for it too. I said, that's cute. It's I was like, because you felt for the characters, the ones who, not Cleopatra, and then we felt for them people. And I was glad to see that, Hans learned a lesson and Frida got her man. But then I went to Wikipedia to read up on the story. I do my reading after each movie, and I'm like, oh, Hans and Frida in real life are siblings. I'm like,
Oh.
ew. So I was
wow.
like, because they said that they were part of a traveling circus and that they all four of their sisters, and I think Hans is the only male, and then there's other three sisters. I could be wrong, but I do know that I did see pictures of them. They're the doll family. They're the doll family, and
Yes, they are.
Yeah, I'm like, because I thought they were married in real life, and I saw they had the same last names, and they said no, they're siblings. I'm like, oh. So it kind of took me out, but I still enjoyed the movie until I learned that fact that I liked that ending because I liked that Hans learned the lesson, and I thought it was a nice addition to the movie because, like I said, it would have ended like, and this is what happens when you come from somebody else's man. So.
So any final thoughts on Freaks as a whole? Was there anything that we didn't go over that you really wanted to bring up? I'll take that as a no. Okay.
I love the movie. I mean, it was a great movie.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, yeah.
All right, let's get into awards and accolades. Now, this film was preserved in the United States National Film Registry in 1994, which preserves culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant films. Over on the Rotten Tomatoes Fresh Meter, it is certified 94% fresh. So now it's our turn, while we're here in the ballroom, to hand out some of our own awards. And let's start off with the diva.
Cleopatra.
Cleopatra, that bitch.
That whore.
Cleo.
Who was the ingenue?
Oh, Frida.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with Frida.
Who are we going to give the See You Next Tuesday Cunt Award to?
Cleopatra just sweeping the awards tonight.
Yeah, she can have that.
Cleopatra.
Sure.
The shadiest moment.
One of the twins telling, yeah, I got to go. She might not got to go, but I got to go.
Yeah,
Right, exactly.
I like that.
Yeah, those were always funny.
Mm-hmm.
The read of the night.
Oh, no, I don't have a read of the night.
I don't either. Well, it wasn't a read, but I guess after Cleopatra sat there and seduced her dude, and then she came over and got in her face, and Frida was like, "Don't touch me."
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Don't do
Yeah.
that.
Wasn't a read, but it was definitely a shady moment.
Yeah.
Right.
What was the sexiest moment?
Sexiest moment.
Well, I have one. I would say when one of the twins was getting kissed and the other one who was like, reading,
with
all of a
Dylan.
sudden she like looked up and was like, I was like, get it, girl. She was getting her little orgasm by association.
I was like, I wonder how that works. You know what I'm saying? Like, they both get married, and both the men are sitting. Oh, let me stop. Okay, I'm sorry, but yeah, that would be the next moment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, she's just laying there and the other one's getting it and she's just getting multiples by association.
Right.
That would be, dude, that's a damn movie in itself.
There you go. A spot of tea, the most teaful moment.
When this bitch ruined her whole damn plan, spilling the tea.
Yeah.
Literally.
When Cleopatra sat there and got drunk as hell and spilled her own tea.
What was the moment that made you gag?
The same moment for me. Like, this bitch can't really be that stupid.
The most non-politically correct moment.
You know what stood out to me when the half man, half woman, I guess, was peeking in at Cleopatra and Hercules. And then he comes out and just punched the thing in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
I have to say that moment.
That moment like took me out of the movie because I was like, what?
Why? Exactly. Like, why did you do that?
Yeah, like, where'd that come from? And then the scene immediately changes. Like, we're not going to see no reaction.
The
We're not gonna
aftermath.
see this heifer land on the ground. Like we ain't gonna see nothing. Just okay, next scene.
Yeah, that was something. What was the creepiest moment? When they're all crawling on the ground?
Yes, when they're coming, it's raining and it's storming outside, and they're all
Oh
just coming
yeah,
from. It
yeah.
was like, whoa. I think to me that's when it became a horror movie for me.
The That's So Retro moment.
I guess the Barker, if you want to say that. I mean, him introducing the because they don't do that no more.
I'd say also the freak show as a whole, because I don't really think there are many freak shows around to this
That's
day.
true.
No, not like that anymore. I don't think.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And if it was, I damn sure ain't going.
Well, there you go. All right, let's rank the film with our special categories. There's The Screamer for a film that is filled with scares, The Gutbuster, a film that is gross, Eye Popper, a film that's visually impressive, The Gravedigger for a film that's lacking scares, and The Mind Blower for overall best in show. You may mix and match. You do not have to pick just one, so you can get creative. And let's start off with Legionnaire.
There were definitely some. There were some scares towards the end for me, and definitely a jolt when I saw the fate of Cleopatra. What was the one above eye popping? I forgot.
Gutbuster.
Yeah, it was a gut buster for me.
So visually gross?
Yeah, yeah, grotesque in how she ended up. So not necessarily in a bad way, but definitely in how Cleopatra got her comeuppance, and clearly Hercules' fate didn't end well, even though we didn't see what happened to him.
Mark, what about you?
I would do a Gravedigger, an Eye Popper, and I'm sorry, what was the last one again?
Mind Blower?
Mind Blower, because like I said, it was a great story in this hour and 2 minutes that was on. Even though they chopped out a lot of the movie, it still was a decent. I mean, decent. It was a great movie. Gravedigger, because even though the end was kind of creepy, it didn't like scare me to the point where I was scared to go outside, because I love them. You know what I'm saying? I love the sideshow performers, and if I went outside a dark summer night, they were coming towards me. But if they were coming towards me, I'd be like, I ain't did nothing to y'all. I love y'all.
Mhm.
Can we work something out? It's like you could talk to them and stuff like that, because I'm like, I really don't have no ill will towards y'all. And Eye Popper, because the visuals of the performers, and the half man, half woman, the human skeleton, the human torso, all those. They were just eye poppers, because, especially showing you that, yeah, we may have these, and I'm quote unquote deformities, but we're enjoying life just as well as you are. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, eye popper moment for me.
Ramon.
I'll give it a mixture of two. One would be Eye Popper, just because, like he said, I thought it was just visually appealing for me with regards to the different sideshow freaks. I just love the diversity in them, and it was just how they were incorporated into the storyline. Like, I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I really liked the movie. It didn't have any horror aspects, just for me personally. So the second one that I would give would be a Gravedigger.
I'm going to classify it with Gutbuster because of that final scene with Cleopatra, because that shit was gross. It was grotesque. It didn't have like scares for me, but it was creepy enough that I almost would have given it a Gravedigger up until like the end, because like once they were on the ground ready to attack, and then we saw the fate of Cleopatra, like that's when it really turned like horrific for me. So I can't give it that, although I was tempted to give it a Gravedigger. So I will also give it a Mind Blower for overall best in show, just because I think overall, it was a very strong movie, even though they had chopped so much out of it. Usually whenever they edit stuff out of movies, like, they usually do a bad job of doing that, and it ends up like making the movie not make any sense. And for some reason they did it the right way, because the film still retained a storyline, and it made sense. So what they chopped out didn't affect the film overall. So now it's time to rate the film on a 1 to 10 hotel room key scale. The point system is allowed. And let's start off with Ramon.
Okay, so I really like the movie. I really like a lot of aspects of the movie. It just didn't have no scary aspects for me. I found myself laughing a lot more than I, got any kind of horror or suspenseful aspects from it. But because I really, really like it, though, overall, I'm going to give it a 6 hotel keys.
Legionnaire, what about you?
This one I'm going to give 8. I definitely enjoyed it. Wasn't a lot of scares, but it was definitely creepy, and I definitely enjoyed that aspect of it.
Mark, what about you?
I'm gonna give it a 9. I wanted to give it a 10, but I don't know why. Oh, screw it! I'm gonna give it a 10. I really enjoyed Freaks. I could sit there and watch it again and again and again. I actually want to show it to my sister, and usually when it comes to my horror, if I really love it and I want to show it to my sister, then it's right up there on my radar. So I give it a 10 hotel key.
Okay. I'm going to come in a little bit towards the middle-ish, at least the middle between Legionnaire and Mark, not our outlier, Ramon, but the Russian judge. I'm going to give it an 8.5. I thought it was much more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be. I thought the cast was really strong, especially since, as I mentioned earlier, like, these are actual, like, circus performers, the majority of them. So it's surprising how much they made us care for these characters, especially in, like, a lot of them only had, like, small little scenes. So kudos to the cast. I thought the story was pretty strong, and I thought the ending was very grotesque. The epilogue at the end, while cutesy, I don't think we necessarily needed it, and the addition of Carnival Barker at the beginning, I don't think really was needed either. It was almost like a tease of just the grotesque ending, and I don't know if that was necessarily needed. I would have loved if they would have kept everything in it, because I think my score might have gone up a little bit with a little bit more of, like, the horror grotesque aspects that they removed. But with what we saw, I think an 8.5 is the perfect score. So on that note, please drag your bodies away from the ballroom and prepare to check out. Join us next time for a brand new installment of Horror Hotel. Once again, here's one of our bellhops with a few special announcements.
Good evening. We thank you for your patronage. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/PCR Horror Hotel. Follow Panpichulo Radio on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, and YouTube, at Panpichulo Radio. For more information on Horror Hotel, visit panpichuloradio.com/Horror Hotel. Do you have any questions, suggestions, comments, or concerns? Email us via contact@panpichuloradio.com. Help support Panpichulo Radio financially by visiting gofundme.com/panpichuloradio. Are you interested in joining the Panpichulo Radio team as an on-air personality or blog contributor? Email talent@panpichuloradio.com. Binge listen to your favorite Panpichulo Radio programs by visiting panpichuloradio.com/archives. You can also download tonight's broadcast and the rest of the series through iTunes. Just search for Panpichulo Radio's Horror Hotel, and subscribe. We hope you've brought your death certificate. Make final arrangements now.
Thank you. My fellow Horror Hotel team, please wish our hotel guests and the listeners a good night.
Good night, listeners. Catch you in the next installment.
Good night, everyone. And remember, never come for someone else's man.
Be careful going out. Hope to see you guys next time.
Thanks for tuning in. You may have checked into the Horror Hotel, but who says you're allowed to check out? Good night.